Hello everybody, I'm George from Ireland. So this is me telling you more about the Ukraine conflict and how Ukraine could win. I think it unlikely, but here it goes. I'm not a military person, never have been, as I've often said. I've spoken to a few military people, and to some extent it's carrying on doing what they're doing. Though it does seem that the Russian advance is continuing inexorably, ineluctably, even though slowly, painfully slowly for them. But they got to attack Russia's Achilles heel, which is logistics. So the Russian military obviously rather disorganized, and I would guess very behind schedule. They thought they'd take Kiev within 2 days. Here we are, 20 days later. They still haven't even surrounded the city. I thought Kiev was going to fall a long time ago, and that's partly because of Zelensky's operatics. Well done to him, not wanting mission to be demeaning, but he's an actor and he's playing the greatest role in his life, and all the world's a stage for him. So the world is staring in amazement at him, because had he taken that ride out of there that the United States offered him, maybe Ukraine would have fallen by now, already run up the white flag, but it's not to be. So attacking the Russian army head on is surely not the thing to do. You think the Russians have the numbers, they've got the heavy weapons and so on, so not fighting set piece battles. He's going around the flanks and really attacking their supply lines, blowing up convoys, also blowing up bridges, and bridges in Russia anywhere approaching the Ukrainian border and the Belarusian border. Now, don't want anyone to get killed. I'm not a pacifist. I'm not anti-Russian, but not a single person would have been killed if Putin hadn't started this invasion, or hadn't invaded, Crimea in 2014 and Luhansk and Donbass and on and on and on, and trying to intimidate people, trying to murder a Ukrainian president way back in 2004. But this war is on, and I do feel sorry for the majority of Russian soldiers killed. They're not bad people. They're good people in every army. And they're good people who serve evil causes, as they're evil people who serve good causes. But anyway, so this, I would guess, is how to do it, and keep on at that. And they might have to fight a guerrilla campaign. And although the Russians appear to have a numerical advantage, about 200,000 troops in Ukraine, but Ukraine, if they mobilise all their reserves, which they have, they've got 900,000, plus more civilians have joined. I mean, some of them are people who did their military service years ago coming back, foreign volunteers, about 16,000 have volunteered. I don't know how many have already arrived. So the Ukrainians could soon have the numerical advantage. Now, the Russian armed forces have 3.5 million people. If they mobilise all their reserves, they can't send all those to Ukraine. They got other frontiers to guard. Moreover, their logistics system is breaking down, servicing even 200,000 troops. How on earth would they move and supply 3.5 million? They might soon have to be commandeering civilian vehicles and pressing those into military service because it's so urgent. And I'm surprised the Ukrainians haven't already penetrated deep into Russia and possibly Belarus to start blowing things up, oil refineries, attack the economy, say, you wreck our economy, you knock down our apartment blocks, you attack civilian targets every single day, blowing up civilian buildings which have got no military significance without any belief there are any soldiers in there, attacking that maternity hospital. So numerous infamous crimes committed by the Kremlin every single day. Now, I don't think that civilians should ever be targeted, and I wouldn't advocate for the Ukrainians to target Russian civilians just because Putin's merry mob have attacked Ukrainian civilians. I suppose it's easy for me to say that, to be moral, say, no, I wouldn't do it to them, but they do it to me. If I was in this situation, I might be so incensed, so furious, say, well, I'm going to do back to you what you've done to me, and then you'll feel the pain, and then you'll back off and conclude, unless we hurt them just as much, they're not going to stop. Because Russia's strategy is to let the artillery do most of the work, and then that minimizes casualties for the infantry, because Ukraine doesn't have very much artillery. So using their snipers a bit, as they're doing, and attacking their Russian heavy armor, and they're willing to defend Kiev for a very long time, fighting room by room, so make it very bloody, make it very costly. But the valor and the professionalism of the Ukrainian military is probably not on its own. It's going to be a multi-pronged strategy, and obviously pro-Ukrainian countries have got to do the rest. All the European Union countries, the United States, Canada, the UK, Australia, New Zealand, maybe South Korea, and Japan. and the economic damage that's being wreaked upon Russia and Belarus. Obviously, Russia's having some success in circumventing that with things like, might be people setting up businesses in Armenia and Kyrgyzstan, might be able to purchase items in those countries, have them sent on to Russia. So got to threaten Armenia and Kyrgyzstan that if you expedite Russia getting around these sanctions, we'll sanction you too. And Russia's seeking aid from China. It's clearly going badly for Russia. And the very fact that Putin felt impelled to assure people that reserves would not be called up, and they've even publicly acknowledged that this war is not going according to plan, put out the rumour that they're hiring mercenaries in Syria, probably a true rumour, to put the fear of the Lord into the Ukrainians, because one of the things that really upsets the Russians is their fellow Slavs we're killing. What about Slavonic Brotherhood and fellow Orthodox Christians? And so for some of the Syrians, there'll be no such fellow feeling. So the gloves have really come off. Or the Chechens, likewise, not wishing to be anti-Chechen, but Ramazan Kadyrov's, his state terrorists have got a reputation for being particularly pitiless. But anyway, so it's obviously the Ukrainian military fighting on with its customary courage, as well as the efforts to counter propaganda and so on, and sanctions. And the totality of that, you think, might bring Russia to its senses, making it very painful indeed. And the pain of the sanctions is only just starting to be felt. The ruble having fallen so much, the Russian stock market having been closed for over a fortnight now. When's it ever going to reopen? They're worried about panic buying if it ever reopens. Interest rates hiked to 20%. To try and keep inflation down, which is certainly successful, but even having interest rates so sky high is bad in other ways. A lot of things are not able to buy microchips, transponders. Now, the European Union and the United States and so on, they could go further, especially if there's weapons of mass destruction attacks. Say, we're not even going to sell you food or pharmaceuticals. So the price of those things are going to go up. Yes, I did see that woman on Russian television holding up the sign saying no war, don't believe the propaganda and so on. And that was in front of a newsreader who's one of the favourites, because I used to watch Pierre Rome quite a lot. I don't think it'll turn into a complete European war. I mean, put it this way, Russia is struggling in Ukraine. How on earth can they take on everybody else? And who's on their side? Even Belarus claims not to be fighting in Russia. Belarus could join their side. Who else is going to join their side? Serbia's not. They want to join the European Union. If China were actually fight for them, now that would be a game changer. But the Chinese are actually quite peace-loving. I mean, they could have taken over countries quite easily, but they haven't, because they just want to get rich. They think, and don't defeat the world, buy it. It's actually a lot cheaper just to buy it, build up their economy as much as possible. And Moscow supposedly asked Kazakhstan and other collective security treaty organizations to come to their aid militarily, and the Kazakhs turned them down flat. Remember, it's only an internal conflict. Even Putin doesn't claim that the Ukrainians covered a centimetre of his territory or fired into his territory. So that's a little bit about how Ukraine can win. But Western countries have really got to arm them more. I'm surprised I haven't given them more long-range missiles to take out even short-range missiles to take out the Russian artillery, or missiles to hit Russian military bases deep inside Russia, or even those surface-to-air missiles that will take down Russian planes high in the sky, really negate the Russian advantage in aviation. Apparently Russia still doesn't have complete air superiority, and provide those MiGs. So, NATO countries could have done much, much more. And had they really armed the Ukrainians to the teeth, maybe even Putin wouldn't have dared to move forward. That's enough from me. So please donate to my channel on PayPal, georgecallahan79@gmail.com. Very much appreciate that. Okay, toodaloo everyone.